Well, it's Tuesday.
It is
I don't know
two
if
for
you're
Tuesday.
out east or New York, but it is north of 60
Exquisite,
degrees.
dude.
60 degrees here.
It's exquisite.
Great word, by
I
the way.
I would. Yeah, it's what it is, and I've already been outside. I've done a couple things in the yard already. but but I mean, it makes me want to go to the beach. I'm not terribly far from the beach,
Well,
and so yeah,
funny
yeah,
you mentioned the beach. I'm glad
yeah,
you did that
yeah. Well,
because
that's
on this day in 1966,
66. That is a great year, by the way.
The Beach Boys started working on what was the B side of a song that you know. The B side of
All
I
right.
want to say it's Wouldn't It Be Nice was God Only Knows. And I'm looking at the market
Ah,
today, Tim, and I'm saying God only knows what the F is going on.
God only knows what I'd be without you. Or is it where I'd be without you? God only
God
knows
knows what
what
I'd be
I'd
without you.
be without you. Um, so, well, I mean, there's a lot of people who are investing in Bitcoin and are investing in a lot of these high charged asset classes that have to be singing that song. But the interesting thing about the market is creating strange new kingmakers, and you know, God only knows really what a lot of these people were thinking when investing it. But Roblox comes public, I believe, tomorrow. And for you who don't know Roblox, if you have a kid under the age of 12, and possibly doesn't even matter, this is all they do, all they're focused on. I've got a 7-year-old. Connor is and I can't tell whether he's a genius or he's just playing his version of Miss Pac-Man. I have no idea, but he's like building houses and
Of
building
course he is.
lives because he's obviously miserable in the life I gave him. Just kidding. But it's crazy. And so let me tie this back to the boys of Beach, and Brian Wilson was also a genius. And I'm not sure anybody knew what he was doing at the time, and I'm not sure he did. And he may have been hearing voices in his head. And Pet Sounds is still revered as one of the most creative and innovative, influential. You threw the I word at me. Were you influenced by Pet Sounds? I mean,
no. And listen, I think
no.
God Only Knows is a great song. Wouldn't It Be Nice is offensive to me. It's like just one of those mundane David Bowie like monotonous songs.
Now slow down, bro. Why so angry on the Beach Boys?
I'm
man?
not angry.
Wouldn't it be nice? By the way, wouldn't it be nice? I think was a jingle for remember Huggers. It was like a little
diaper,
like orange,
a diaper brand. Is that
no,
correct?
That's Huggies.
Oh,
That's
Huggies.
Yeah,
as opposed to, as we mentioned a number of times,
to hug. And I think it was like a grenade-sized little. I don't know.
Was there any cool? We've mentioned this before. Was there any cooler person on 70s television shows than Huggy Bear?
No, we've done Huggy Bear, and he look never has a bad man from the streets. By the way, I mean, it's rare that a pimp is elevated to such holy status in the eyes of the mainstream. By the way, but again, you were wearing like a long, like a big burly kind of sweater that had a robe tie,
and was that I always mix the two up. It's like sort of I mix up Hall and Oates all the time. I never know who's who. It's the same way with Starsky and Hutch. They actually might be the same people.
Well, Crockett and Tubbs are the same thing for me. I don't know what to do with them. I mean, other than they obviously look very different. And one guy wore espadrilles, and nobody wore socks. And some of the worst music in the world. That is, if we even started people on these songs right now, and they wouldn't be able to get them out of their heads. I mean, talk about the cancer of In the Air Tonight, and talk about Smuggler's Blues. I did it.
Oh.
Smuggler. Glenn Frey, who's a cool dude, was a cool dude. Rest in peace, Glenn. Smuggler's Blues is brutal, dude. Brutal.
You dropped the F-bomb. That's just how offensive you found that song.
All right. So what's more offensive? The multiples in the IPO market, and whether it is a Roblox, whether it's a Palantir, whether it's an Airbnb, some of these things that have come out this year and have been stratospheric.
Yeah.
What's more offensive, those dynamics of the market, or the fact that you're seeing, really the S&P head to almost all-time highs again, only days after everybody thought the sky was falling, and no one really knows. I don't know.
Well, I mean, as the Beach Boys say, God only knows, and because clearly I don't. What is more offensive? The fact that you have so many different dynamics at work, and none of them are creating price discovery, and they're just bidding up asset prices to levels that don't make a lot of sense. I mean, some of these SPACs are being brought out with valuations that I'm sure a lot of these founders could only have dreamed of 3 or 4 years ago, and they're probably laughing all the way to the bank. And to a certain extent, good for them. My concern has always been what happens when this music stops, and what's going to stop the music. I don't know, but I will tell you, for the last couple of weeks, it's obviously been this move in yields up to 1.6%. They've sort of slowed down a bit. I think the comments out of David Tepper yesterday sort of assuaged some of the concerns of market participants. Question is, are we just pausing here, or is this a meaningful top in yields? I think we're just pausing and going higher, but that's what makes markets.
Well, I mean, clearly, Tepper put out some good vibrations, and we're a case here where I think the market feels a little bit like that 57 Chevy you were racing, pink slips on, that got it, and I'm really speaking more on the bond market and the fears. It got a little hot. I think we kind of blew an engine, man. And
look at you.
You're the gearhead. So again, you grew up in Croton, but I think that's really the story. I as much as I think yields are a problem, and as much as I think that yields could go a little bit higher, I don't see how you get above. Let me throw a number right now: 2.25 on the 10-year in the next 6 to 9 months, and therefore I think equities are probably going to be fine. I ultimately think that we're in a case here. The biggest issue is when the Fed needs to remove money from the market because things get so overheated, yields are going to cave to the floor. The bond market is, I just don't see, yields aren't going to go higher. They're going to go lower. Everyone's going to run for the safety of whatever yield is there, even though ultimately it may be negative real yield. So look, guy, be true to your school, just like you would to your girl now, and let your colors fly. And I don't know, what colors were you in Croton at the Wildcats?
Orange and black.
Interesting. It's like the birds. You were like the Orioles, or the Princeton Tigers. I'm trying to. Sure. Orange and black are great colors, man. Like they're kind of,
nasty, very nasty.
Nasty. Yeah.
We had an edge. We had an edge to our game. I mean, just saying. We didn't have our names on the backs like you guys. We didn't have home and away jerseys. We just we went with what we had, and off we went. Got on the, small bus, packed it all in. It was tough back then.
Is there a problem putting your name on your back? Is that?
We didn't have the money to do it. We didn't have the. It costs money to sew those things on or glue them on. We just didn't have it back then.
And you guys all piled into one little bus, huh?
Sure, we did.
Well, look, man, it's amazing you've made the move you have in life, and I think it's part of that, that determination to come from the dark side of the tracks. So congrats.
Right on. And I think you said something about cooling things down. Of course, as we get out of here, I think of Boston's third album, Third Stage.
Cool the
great
engines.
Songs, Cool the Engines. I think that's a good way to get out of here. Cool the engines, man.
Okay. Well, I think of New Edition, Cool It Now, and Ralph Tresvant as the lead singer. And I think not only is it time for us to cool it now, but I think it's time for the market to cool it now. I'll see you later.